that mid, take control, use that vision for side lane plays. Their macro looked impeccable towards the start of summer, and we're looking to see it one more time here. Now, not a big shocker, a bunch of AD carries are going to get banned out. The Lucian, the Misfortune, Ziggs also very heavily targeted towards that bot lane. That's why I said AD carries. Well, he falls in the AP carry category. And I'm wondering, what are we going to go towards? Is this a Renekton of the LPL? Is it going to be an Ashe? Tristana is still a thing. And FPX, every single time they're on red side, they do prioritize in getting that Tristana onto care. And of course, I mean, the guy got triple MVP, get him his champ.
Look at that instantly. Care gets his Tristana, and Deokdam gets an Ezreal. Two massive priority picks for FPX. But honestly, the Ashe is a big priority pick that's usually banned away. So I'm kind of curious to see how Hope will do on the pick, just because I feel like recently we've seen so little of the Ashe. It's almost always banned. Croco going to grab that Lillia as well. So very much priority picks on the side of AL as well.
Now, what's very exciting to see here is the fact that FPX have locked in their double AD carry instantly. Care on that Tristana in the mid lane and Deokdam onto his Ezreal. Very famous also for his Ezreal too. And I wonder what's going to happen down in the bot lane, because usually when you have Ashe and Ezreal, you're looking towards that Braum. Things that can really pin you down in lane, or things that can help you escape that hell. Now, I want to throw a bell out there that we have seen literally in the TT vs FPX series. Karma Ezreal rise back up to the top. So locking in a Braum very early on the side of AL could be kind of catastrophic for the bot side. It's just going to be MilkyWay onto his brand to match the Lillia very fast AP junglers. And I'm getting very excited right here. You mentioned Ale up the top lane for AL. I'm looking at Zdz and I'm like, the best Zdz has looked is on carry champions getting played for, and right here he does have that. He has the R5 to counterpick top lane.
He certainly does, and he'll need it against a player like Ale, and immediately starts banning off some of these solo lane picks like the Jace that we saw from Flandre yesterday on JDG. Looked like a great lane pick, managed to beat out the Nasus in lane, unfortunately. That didn't actually turn into a game win. But the Alistair taken away from life as well. And hard engage is going to be one of the big questions for this next round as well, because with the Braum gone away, you'd expect maybe some hard engage supports to come on in. But there's also the option of things like the Gnar up in the top lane that can function as a hard engage tool too.
I feel like specifically for FPX, I'm looking at very slippery kind of champions. Sats like Rakan, that works really great wonders with that Ezreal. Again, shift forward into getting Rakan all the way into that backline. Following up with the Wombo combo for Brand, the Braum ban as well over there onto FPX, showing that they have no need for that champion, but they also do not want it paired up with Hope's Ashe down the bot side of the map. And I wonder, is it going to be a more safe, sort of Cassante-ish pick towards the top side for Zdz? He does have already 3 very squishy targets that can pump out a lot of damage. I feel like FPX does miss a little bit of that frontline engage tools on their side.
I mean, Aurora has slipped through this draft. There's been 10 bans and Aurora still made it through. Care, we've asked if he'll be able to step up in the laning phase, if he'll be able to carry. He got a triple MVP against TT, and now he's locked in Aurora for himself. This is going to be a big moment for him.
I think that's Zdz on Aurora on the top side of the map.
Oh, of course.
We talked about him getting onto his carries, and I feel like Zdz is going to be grabbing that new champion straight towards that top side of the map. Let's see what Ale has in response to that. I'm thinking something that can maybe pin her down. He's got so many different kind of picks, like the Camille's, the Gnars, anything along those lines. If he wants to play towards that top side of the map and get Croco towards the top, he is showing Nasus right now, but I'm not going to speak about it because he's laughing. He's laughing. Oh, he's locking in.
And he's locked it in. Right. This could well be something like the AP Nasus as well, where you do go for the Emax and try and like out-poke these poke champions. Obviously, doesn't scale quite as well as your standard Nasus that's farming the queues. We'll have to wait and see what Ale does up in that top side. Maybe just playing to scale for later stages of the game, but they got that hard engage in terms of the Rell, and FPX looking for their own hard engage as life goes for the Rakan.
All right, hear me out. FPX, all hands are on deck. Self-agency on every single champion they have. They're all pretty slippery, except from Brand. But when you get close, Brand will be very happy to give his life just to get one combo of his entire damage kit out. I'm pretty sure the rest of the champions will be able to clean up space. However, FPX are playing a very BLG-esque draft right here. A lot of self-agency on every single one of their champions, but all of them extremely squishy. The only hard engage you have is coming from life onto this Rakan, also very squishy. And AL are playing a more traditional style of a draft, if you will. They've got double frontline, they've got backline, they've got terms of engage and disengage onto their kit. So for AL, it will be much easier to sort of navigate and group up as 5, whilst FPX, especially when you're playing full squishy damage champions, you're going to have to snowball that early game.
I'm really curious how this game is going to go for FPX. They're a team that, you know, against TT, love to be grouped up as a 5, but this draft insinuates they want to dominate their laning phases. They want to find individual advantages. Aurora slammed in the top lane for Zdz, and we'll see if Ala is ready to take that one on with the Nasus lock-in as an answer. This is not the top lane I was expecting to see today, but I'm excited to witness it. But I'm looking towards that mid lane, even though it's Corki versus Tristana. Kael and Shanks both here to prove themselves. Kael with a triple MVP in his last series. Shanks looking like one of the best mid laners, maybe even in the whole league. This is the playoffs for him to prove that fact. And it's finally underway here, Trouble. AL versus FPX. I think a lot of people at home have been very excited about watching this series. I'm very excited to see if AL can return to form. They dominated their placement groups. They dominated their first 3 series in the Ascend group. They have been on a 5-series loss streak since that point. Now we see them in playoffs. Can they turn this ship around?
Now, let me reiterate here, it was the exact same story for FPX. They came in with a 6-game loss streak. But playoffs reignites that fire. This is do or die. This is your last chance. You don't win, you're out. You don't win, you don't get to fight for a chance for Worlds. For AL, this is step number 1 from 2 steps into getting towards Worlds. And for FPX, they do lock regional qualifiers with the win here and break the hearts of all JDG fans as they take them out of that regional qualifier spot as well.
We've got to talk about some jungle pathing here as well, because straight off the bat, Croco has started aggressively. He went for an invade onto the Raptors. There was a ward there for MilkyWay, so he'll have full information that those Raptors are gone. But Croco now just going to continue clearing on his own side and path down towards the bottom lane. I'm not sure if there's that much of an answer available for MilkyWay. We'll see if he goes for anything creative.
I think it all depends on the mid lane matchup as well. With Tristana, you do get the chance to kind of push in that wave real quickly if you want to. The passive really does help onto the champion, as we have talked about AL's bot lane over and over again on the fact that they are willing to take 2v2s to take control of the bot side of the map. Now, here's the problem right here. For MilkyWay heading towards the top side of the map, he has infinite priority with Zdz poking out Ale in a melee versus ranged matchup up the top side of the map, so he will have Zdz sort of closing in if he needs him towards that side. However, because of the dominance of Kael and Hope towards the bottom of the map, I don't think an invade towards these chickens would be possible. So Croco right here with a very great read on that level 1, grabs that 1 extra camp off of MilkyWay. And we have seen how important these are, because if MilkyWay gets going on a carry, it's very difficult to shut that guy down. So making sure that you do this off of a level 1 is great stuff to start off this series with.
Really important as well to mention is that you can see a blue ward in AL's own Raptor camp. That's because MilkyWay pathed around the ward that was over at his own chickens. So suddenly everything went a bit dark for AL. They thought they knew exactly what MilkyWay was doing. They will now. As the hawk shot goes up, they'll see that the camps are gone. He must be on the top side, right? Ala drops a ward in his own pixel brush. But it meant that there was an extra ward expended from the side of AL just to make sure that he wasn't over in those chickens. So Croco still clearing, because he's done 1 extra camp, remember. He started on the opposing Raptors. He's a little bit slower to finish things off. However, with MilkyWay on that top side, Croco is safe to come and grab this crab.
Isn't that crazy how one person can exert so much pressure on the map by just being there? MilkyWay just being him. you have to put down the wards. You have to spot where he is as Croco's win some pressure.
Wow,
Flash
for
for
flash. Yeah, Kael gonna lose that summon at Croco. Starts off the chickens. I mean, it's a mid laner advantage for AL, but he's not here just yet. Raptors will reset, but MilkyWay might have to flash himself as Shanks is moving over. Yeah, and MilkyWay forced away. But now his flash is on cooldown, and he's slowed. MilkyWay's in trouble. The superstar of the split in spring, but taken down to start his playoffs run.
Summer start, Shanks and Croco were two of the best players on that mid-jungle duo that we've been looking for in that LPL, and they show this yet again. That level 1 from Croco into all the wards that went down to spot MilkyWay, into taking the Ashe, using the hawk shot, making sure you trace every single step of MilkyWay onto this brand, punishing by forcing flash mid. And now MilkyWay and Kael, the two members that actually popped off in that TT series, Kael in particular, are now summonerless in their own jungle. Reminder here, Shanks has his flash available.
Yeah.
They want to play more aggressive towards that mid lane, but an incredible start for the AL squad.
Really crucially as well, we talked about Shanks versus Kael and it being sort of Shanks as a laner, typically. You'd expect to be ahead in this matchup. MilkyWay trying to influence the mid lane potentially. But Shanks with an early kill in the game as well, like having that item advantage for the mid lane is just such a boon to AL when, I mean, this is a mid laner that can really take over games.
And that was also our question mark here. Kael coming off of a triple MVP in that TT series. Raised a lot of question marks. Is Kael back? Is that where his redeeming arc starts? There is, I said there's sort of a story with LPL mid laners and just picking up in playoffs. I won't name names, but apparently Kael is one of those. They did play against TT, a group Nirvana team, and this is their big task versus AL. Now FPX will be rotating live towards the top side of the map, but again, no summoner spells on MilkyWay, no summoner spells onto Kael. Very, very dangerous to walk into Croco, especially now that he's level 6 and got his ultimate available to him.
3v2 in the mid lane potentially. Shanks still has that flash, and oh no, the crash down. Life jumps straight into the knockup. It denies his own engage tool. Kael forced away in the mid lane, and look at this. AL, not only will they get 2 grubs on the top side, they now try and force a fight on the bottom side, and Life is the one caught out. Hope looking for a kill volley, not even needed because he flashes over the wall to get the autos in. Deokdam forced underneath his own tower. This is early game domination.
Shanks!
AL take over, and Shanks solo kills Kael.
Remember how we said AL were the bloodiest team at 15? That's exactly why. They're playing FPX around their fingers. That macro was impeccable. Ale walking down from top lane, securing the void grabs from Croco. Croco hitting level 6, which means now he's a threat because MilkyWay is only level 5. Shanks pressure in mid because Kael doesn't have that flash available. Whilst Hope had already shoved that bot lane and pushed up the river to sandwich any remaining members of FPX looking for an opportunity. This is impeccable teamwork coming in from AL. Indefinitely is paying off. 3-0, 7 minutes in.
And it feels like kind of a bait from AL, right? Where they start those grubs and they're like, yeah, we'll just trade grubs for Dragon, right, guys? They take the first 2 and then run straight down. And as you say, the bot lane had Prio for AL, so they can pressure. In the meantime, I mean, Shanks just not missing rockets, just outplaying Kael. And I think Kael may be underestimating quite the damage that Shanks is bringing to that mid lane.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, FPX were a little bit in spectator mode right there. They knew they could not walk up towards the top side of the map to contest for those void grabs. Croco was already in position, Ale was moving as we mentioned, Hope had already shoved so he could actually move up, and he had the arrow. So I feel like this was a very uncontested AL side of the map, and FPX chose to stick around. They chose not to start the Dragon, they chose not to get a lot of vision control, and they got caught in between. They got caught in the transition, and AL take everything. They take the Dragon, as you mentioned. They take all 3 void grabs as well, and the 3 kills. So it's kind of like a you snooze, you lose kind of moment for FPX. If you don't take control, AL will run you over.
Certainly will. And I just want to kind of catch up with topside because there's been so much going on elsewhere. We're not really talked about this Aurora and Nasus matchup. Well, Aurora's meant to be this kind of ranged lane bully. So far, so good for Allah. He's pretty much even in CS, ever so slightly behind, but stack it up on that Nasus. He went 4 points in his E for wave clear and for poke, and now he starts to put points in his Q as well. So I'm really curious to see what he gets on this back, as he will finish his Merc Treads and a Phage. So he is going for that standard AD Nasus, but just maxing the E first to have presence in the laning phase.
And now looking towards that bot side as well, as Nasus will keep stacking, and Zdz, of course, on the Aurora will start getting stronger and stronger as the items start coming in. Now, there has been complete vision control from the side of AL. As you can see, FPX are trying desperately to try and get MilkyWay in any kind of skirmish, try to take something back. 20 CS up for Croco at this point. He's 1 level up onto MilkyWay as well. That Lillia is accelerating through the game. And I feel like FPX need to start looking for answers right here. It's not becoming any easier to play towards that mid lane, so potentially you need to group up Life and MilkyWay and try to shut down Shanks. He does have a pretty good bounty on his side as well onto this Corki, but starting by potentially taking a summoner and then capitalizing on a skirmish fight around those neutral objectives could be something that FPX are looking for.
Honestly, it's starting to feel like Allah actually has control of this top lane. Obviously, there's a wave there, but they're even in CS, and with the lifesteal that this Nasus has, it feels like the poke from Zdz Aurora just isn't really enough to make it. And look how fast Allah just one-shots the minion waves with his Emax build here. He just annihilates them and then maybe gets the move or maybe gets tower plates. Like, he just has control of the lane, which not something you necessarily expect when you see a Nasus locked in, but it seems like it's a good matchup into this top lane Aurora.
Absolutely. Now pushing her off the top lane tower as well. It's kind of bad for Zdz as he's struggling with HP right there from all the poke that you just mentioned. They knew that Croco's Lillia was towards the top side of the map as well. Now MilkyWay is looking for some towards a volley. He gets engaged on.
Oh my god, he's just stunned up forever. The volley comes in and MilkyWay just has to flash away for his life. Zdz TP's bot side, maybe a chance as Hope does get caught by the knockup, but can they finish the Ashe? The answer's no, and Life is pulled back underneath the tower. No way! Hope and Kael, 2v4 find one.
They managed to get one down from FPX and stop the siege. FPX committing 4 members for that play down bot lane. And let's see what AL get on the map. Care.
Oh god, not again.
On the backside of this trade. He gets to walk out this time around. Does have his flash available if he needs, and does have his teleport. He got caught shoving in his wave while Shanks had the TP to get back onto it. But then again, this is becoming a little bit problematic from FPX. They are not playing a very traditional composition where they get to walk into those objectives and play it front to back, have their guaranteed engage. Now Life, he's caught between a rock and a hard place. He's all alone towards the top side. MilkyWay and Zdz are just arriving just now.
I mean, look at this tower. It's just getting shredded by Allah.
It's gone.
3 people arrive with the grubs there as well. Will it fall? Allah's just going to walk up and hit it. Who cares about minions? He's Nasus, walks in, takes that. Now grubs. The first 3 went the way of AL. That's 4 for them as Deokdam is trying to get some poke down, but Shanks knows he has way more damage than what Deokdam is bringing to the table right now. I think this is going to be 6 grubs for the side of AL, unless MilkyWay wants to... I mean, I don't even think there's a way for him to get in for a smite there. 6 grubs, the first Drake as well. Next Drake is up on the map too.
And let's watch again what happened down the bot lane. That is incredible. They saw MilkyWay onto the flank, and you know what? That was a 1 versus 2. They forced the flash off of MilkyWay as well. Hope walks up just to get the slow onto Life, but I feel like if he had just kept running, this would have been a little bit easier for him. Wait, hold on a minute. Shanks?
Oh, they can't quite finish the chance. He flashes out to safety as... I mean, FPX, they're just struggling to find anything, aren't they? The 1 kill they've got is off at the back of that replay where they just go 1-for-1 with a 4-man commit on the bottom side. The Drake's still up. Neither team went for that during the replay. Was just the 6 grubs for AL, but I mean, 6 grubs when Allah has already taken a tower. Allah is 1,100 gold ahead. Shanks is 1,100 gold ahead, and then Jungle and AD Carry are both 500 gold up respectively. I mean, this is utter domination of the early game from AL. 4,000 gold lead at 13 minutes.
You know what Nasus really loves? Squishy targets, especially when his Q is farmed up. You'll see Ale walk up to any member of FPX and pretty much take half their HP in one Q. He gets to pin them down. And talking about pinning down, you have so many tools with the Rell, with the Ashe, the Lillia. So many tools to get that Nasus into the fight. Now, of course, with the trade onto Shanks down the bot lane, taking his flash, forcing his back, they were able to sneak in that one dragon. However, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't think MilkyWay has gotten any of his chicken respawns right here. Not only that, but now he's losing his red buff to the dog up the top lane as well. I don't think any of his jungle on the top side really belongs to him. The game pinged around.
I mean,
as Zdz spots them both.
This has just been absolute control from Croco on the top side, and actually gets a chance to hit onto Zdz2. Doesn't want to stick around for it, and now actually suddenly stuck in a circle. Maybe gets away as the knockup doesn't quite commit from Light. And Ale and Croco getting away with daylight robbery. They take every single camp on the top side. Now they can move to Herald, and in the meantime, AL are pushing on the bottom side. Feels like everywhere on the map, they're taking control. Arrow goes slightly wide, but Kael and Deokdam are struggling to get here in time. With 6 scrubs, this tower is gone. Shanks now wants to try and get away. In fact, he just 1v1s Kael. In comes his support as Deokdam goes wide on the W. He can hide behind the horsey, and Deokdam falls! 2v2 from Shanks and Kael.
Nothing is going FPX's way. They cannot control their towers. They cannot control vision. Every single skirmish that they've tried to force has gone AL's way, and that's because they're just stronger. Trinity Force onto this Corki 10 minutes in has been absolutely lethal for all the skirmishes that FPX has been wanting to take. And now the Rifter is also going to be popped in the mid lane to assist Hope taking this mid lane tower. Doesn't have to overextend. He can just back off, reset, grab a few items. Let Shelly do the job. And AL are showing up and showing off in this one. We had question marks from FPX. They looked good versus TT, but that was a scrappy game. That was fist fight. AL are bringing in more control, fist fight if you will, whilst controlling the map. They also get to fist fight after the towers are falling, as we can see in this replay as well. And great stuff right here from Shanks. Not only does he hide behind Kael, he gets to play behind the creeps as well onto that lane, not allowing Deokdam to weave any Qs in for that extra damage. And FPX, again, they have a composition that is very squishy. If you don't get ahead, these fights become so difficult to navigate.
Just look at Shanks. Like 4-0 and 0, 2,000 gold up. It is just a monumental lead for AL. And we had the questions of, they're coming off of a loss streak. They, at the end of the day, while it was a series loss streak of 5 series in a row, they won the first 3 in the group and lost the next 5. One thing I will say is those last couple of series against BLG, against LNG, they did manage to take individual games. And when you look at how FPX are playing today versus that series against TT, well, a lot of the wins for FPX came from mistakes from TT, right? Even when TT were ahead, FPX were doing things like stacking brushes to be able to find one pick and then playing off of tempo. And these kinds of, I don't want to say cheesy, but like, playing out of the box, to try and catch people out. I feel like AL are playing at such a pace that FPX, they've never had a chance to initiate a play of their own.
And it all comes from that level 1, right? And tracking MilkyWay throughout this entire game. Now, Kael here having a little bit more of an aggressive approach into the jungle. Again, trying to spot. I feel like the entire game plan behind AL is spot where MilkyWay is, because FPX will not make plays unless MilkyWay is there. So making sure that they spot where this brand is has made sure that all the skirmishes were either in a numbers advantage or they had an advantageous position because of their vision. AL have complete and utter control of this game, and if FPX walk into any objective, which is very difficult, right? You lose vision right here, 5 squishy members. Who in the heck walks up to gain any vision control for FPX? You will get absolutely blown up. Even the support is 1k gold up. This is so scary, man, for FPX.
The thing is as well, like, I thought this during the draft, but, like, Ashe, it's pretty good when you've got squishy targets on the other side of the board, because you just get that big stun. It's so easy to follow up on. And I thought, you got Tristana to buffer it. You got Aurora who can dodge it, Ezreal who can dodge it, Rakan who can dodge it. So I didn't really mention it because, Brand is sort of the only, like, real target. But the thing is, it's not like Ezreal, Tristana, Aurora. These targets are not impossible to hit. And when you've got a Rell as well on flanks, when you've got this Nasus that's going to slow everyone down as well, it's going to be really difficult to escape from the engage of AL. They can choose fights whenever they want them. And that is bad news for FPX. There's now Drake coming up in 8 seconds.
How AL are navigating through their vision. I feel like this is something significant that we've been seeing from BLG, and I feel like AL do remind me a little bit of BLG in terms of you gain something very small on the map, you turn it into a bigger lead. Every single objective has resulted in vision, which has resulted in their positioning being better. And look at FPX, we said it, they're so squishy, they're struggling. Oh!
Zdz forces his way into the mix. Hope low on HP, surviving for now as life goes in. Hope finally falls, and Kael's low as well. Kael dives into the mix and has to flash straight back out. Rocket slightly wide from Shanks. It's a good fight from FPX, but it's 3v4 as Kael now chased down by Shanks, and here comes the dog from far away. Deokdam and MilkyWay try to escape. The Drake still went the way of AL after everything. It looked so good for FPX, but it all falls apart.
They saw Ale TP earlier on, so they knew the second that Nasus shows up on the top side of the map that AL are in numbers disadvantage. Now Shanks is going to spot Deokdam, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I think he fancies that 1v2 any day. He's 2 levels up onto MilkyWay. He's 1 level up onto Deokdam as well. He would take his chances on that 1 versus 2 as Ale is shadowing about as well. But yeah, they're seeing the Nasus top lane, no TP, they know it's a 4 versus 5. A pretty good approach from FPX to try and get a pick, and they did take a bunch of those summoners. They do manage to kill Hope as well. However, again, AL, they realized the sticky situation they're in. They pulled out, waited for the Nasus to come back in, and then re-engaged onto this fight.
And I have to say, you know, usually in playoffs, I like to talk about momentum. I like to talk about, you know, the teams that have made their way through the bracket. Sometimes it does feel like they get an advantage. It's not feeling like that here in game number 1. AL coming in strong. Zdz starts off with what looks like a great ult.
Yeah, he walks up, locks everyone into the ult, but again, this is the nature of the composition. You've got 4 squishy members piling up. If the Rakan ultimate doesn't necessarily hit a big bunch, then AL gets to walk out and use the summoners, utilizing that to get out and then back in. And I feel like that was one of the best chances FPX would probably get in this game. I feel like AL got caught sleeping a little bit, showing Ale towards the top side without the possibility of a TP for that fight, and FPX absolutely took it. And I feel like this is the thing that we talked about in the series versus TT, that if TT made a mistake, FPX were really quick on capitalizing. And we see this here as well. However, AL are not prone to as many of those mistakes as we saw previously.
You think the Baron is scary in that pit. I'm scared of the dog.
Oh my god.
Ale is just a monster. By the way, while all of that went on, Ale got a tier 2 in the mid lane for himself. And, you know,
it was to make up for showing top lane.
Yeah, I'm excited to I'm excited to look at the goal graph at the end of this one, because I reckon Shanks is going to be topping that one. But I think the most exciting thing from all of that action we just saw is Kael walking away on like 1 HP off the back of the big combo, manages to survive, and then his scoreline at the end after the play, it suddenly all makes sense. He's 007, he's got plot armor, you can't kill him in a fight.
I mean, he has been in Milky Way's jungle this entire time, right? Spying, figuring out all Milky Way steps, making sure that he's got pretty good intel or wherever FPX is, and right now it's almost a 10,000 gold lead. Yeah,
he'll die another
that's almost
day.
a 10,000 gold lead, 20 minutes in for AL, and I think this is pretty much cookie cutter from then from here on out. Oh no, Care. Oh no, Care. You're too far forward, buddy.
Not the place to be, is it? And look at that arrow as well from home. Insult to injury. AL find themselves a pick. This is where they've really excelled this year, finding these picks in side lanes, finding these opportunities to punish an individual, and then snowballing that one pick into massive advantages. They're already 10,000 gold up, and that's before they even look towards this Baron.
Now, again, if you're wondering, hey guys, like, why is FPX looking like this? MilkyWay, your face shaking, buddy!
Yeah, he will survive for the time being. His hope doesn't really bring that much, but Alan does! Here he comes! There's a dog in him! And FPX are about to feel the bite. As now in comes Zdz to try and answer. He does get 1 for himself, that's all he'll find, and that is plenty for AL to turn towards the Baron.
Did Ale just zone 3 people with that Nasus. No one wanted to go anywhere near. Life tried and he died, I think, in 2 Qs. Massive team fight right here from AL. Again, very cookie cutter. You see FPX, you engage FPX, you kill FPX. You have so many items right now in your inventory, so much engaged frontline. FPX can unfortunately for themselves not pierce through that. Pierce was not going to be quite enough. Almost was enough to take down Kael. It's not going to be the case. And again, if you guys were wondering how in the world did FPX beat TT, then what were they good at? I would say they were good at playing around Kael. They were good at enabling Kael, and Kael was good at enabling them mid to late game fights. However, FPX face checking like this into a jungle that has not belonged to them, seriously, since level 1.
I mean, the issue that poor Doctor, what can he do? Alan just walks up and bobs him. Like, see you
He's like,
later,
sorry,
kid.
if you don't mind, I'm just gonna walk out now.
Yeah, that was that's AD carry life right there. Poor Doctor. But yeah, I mean, like, you know. Life and MilkyWay, at the end of the day, it's really difficult to face check that one. But when you lock a composition like this, what are your other options? Who is going to face check? Like, nobody is tanky enough to really face check anything. I think Croco was literally just waiting for the true shot barrage there as well. But, like, you know, when you fall behind with this kind of composition, it's just so difficult to come back into things. It's so difficult to find your way and find any level of control unless there's a mistake. AL don't look like they want to make any mistakes. Kael actually goes forward into Zdz ult, and Ala starts to chase things up. But using that Baron, they don't even need to fight. Croco wants to, though. Looks for the sleep onto multiple. Deokdam there as Kael will go down, and Deokdam still surviving. Ala pushing forwards, but no kills yet for AL. I don't think they mind, though, because Shanks is a sniper. Deokdam steps forward, but the honey fruit keeps Shanks alive, and he looks for Deokdam himself. Shield comes out from life at the last second, but in the meantime, the base is falling apart. It's in shambles, and FPX they're fighting tooth and nail, but it just feels like it's all in vain.
A little bit of a solo queue-esque feel from AL as they dive into the base with every single tower still up and running for FPX. And it almost looked like FPX could have a chance of getting a pick right there. However, AL's gold lead is up to 14,000. Oh no, Life.
Life withered. I mean, Wither is so obnoxious at this point in the game. It's so difficult. The second you're in a fight with Nasus, that's it. That's you. One of you is going to die. It doesn't matter which one, but someone
It's probably not the Nasus.
Care caught by the Wither, caught by the damage from that E as well. Is AL now pressuring in the top side. They've already got 2 inhibs for themselves. They're looking for a third. And Ala is just invincible. They're all hitting him and they do nothing. Zdz gets into the backline. It's some good damage, but it's just not good enough because the rest of the team can't even have a look in these fights.
Ala's just walking forward. He hits every single poke, every single ability. He's a proper guard dog for AL at this point. Doesn't have TP to get back into this fight, but the fight is already won. Triple inhibitor already down in 1 Baron power play. That's everything you can ever hope for when you take the Baron. I was about to say, the only saving grace for FPX is here is that they have so much wave clear with the Brand, the Tristana, the Ezreal. AL will need the Baron if they want to break open the base. Oh, no, Life.
Well,
that's not your jungle, buddy.
He's trying to get some vision. He did his best. And actually might be able to get away with his life here. I doubt they'll commit ultimates. But then again, you could maybe snowball it into the end of the game. AL's second fastest average game time in the league. This is a team that when they get a lead, they close out fast. They have safe hands as well at a 93% win rate. And they are ahead at the 15-minute mark. And boy, did they have a lead early.
I don't think Croco has even reset here. From the previous fight, he just took red buff and blue buff from enemy jungle. He's got his Seeker's arm guard, which is all he needs for the next fight. No flash available for him. Only 2 Nexus towers standing between AL and a victory.
I mean, they don't even have to fight, right? They just need to let the supers do the work. Let the Nasus do the work. Zdz tries it again, but it fails again, and that's a rocket and a half from Shanks. FPX sent back onto the fountain. One last ditch attempt, and ditch is the keyword as they are kicked off of the curb by AL.
A very decisive game from AL to start their playoffs run. We had our question marks from AL. I mean, from a 5-series loss streak straight into the playoffs. But when you see teams in playoffs, I'm just gonna say, in the LPL, they're a whole different monster. They were the better team in every single aspect in that game number 1. They were better at controlling their vision. They were better at tracking their opponents. They were better in the straight up laning phase, the 1v1s, the 2 versus 2s. And when it came to the draft, they just made it honestly easier for themselves with what they had drafted. FPX needed to win early or they were inevitably going to lose the game.
Yeah, fantastic game number 1 from AL, showing that they are a playoff contender. They're not going anywhere just yet. Great start to this series. We'll see if they can keep it up, because FPX, they've got plot armor, I'm pretty sure. We'll see how thick it is after the break.